If you followed my content for any span of time, you know that I've always wanted justice for Nicholas GODEJOHN. And what exactly would be justice for Nicholas GODEJOHN is that he would have had or could have a fair trial, and he can have some sort of fairness. I want to spin a block on that because I feel as though sometimes people need a reminder about the fact that he is a victim as well. And yes, Didi does need to get justice. But at the end of the day, Nick needs justice as well. And simply because A, he thought he was saving her, and B, she manipulated him, right? And I think in the long run, it's really, truly not just about Nicholas. It's just about people taking advantage. And I think that us not honing in on that creates a bigger issue in the long run. And for me, if I'm advocating for something, I would prefer to advocate for something that I feel like in the long run you can make a change. And what I mean by that is the fact that we may not see a difference with Nick, but we could see a difference with cases moving forward, and bring awareness, because, you know, maybe the judge and people that were on this case really didn't understand the difference, and really didn't understand, like, the fact that he was collecting a permanent disability check, the fact that he has a low IQ paired with autism and other issues. You know, those are things that maybe they heard, but because they didn't understand it, it didn't come into account. And I think it's really important to have those conversations and fight for what's right. Again, like I said, this is not me saying Didi does not need justice. I totally believe she needs justice. I totally believe that she should have never been assassinated the way she was. I think that, you know, she took care of Gypsy. And by no means am I saying, you know, she's an angel or anything like that, because at the end of the day, we do know, like, you know, she did participate in these Make-A-Wish schemes and Medicaid schemes and, you know, stuff like that. But no mother deserves to die, especially that form, and then be villainized after, while the child that did that plotted on you, is out here just living after they set you up and actually decided to become a mom. Like, that should not be a case. But nevertheless, I want to spin a block on some of my older videos about Nicholas GODEJOHN, because I just think that the reminder of who we're dealing with and who Nicholas GODEJOHN is really important. And I don't want us to forget about that. Grab your seats, grab your tea, let's talk, because the tea is kind of hot. Okay, so I think we've all agreed that Nicholas GODEJOHN has not had a fair trial. But I want to share with you guys why. Let's talk about it. As an attorney or a public defender, your job is to look out for the best interests of your client, correct? Now, part of that is picking a jury. Now, a jury, most times, both sides have to agree on the people on the jury pool. And you want to make sure that they're non-biased towards the case already. So if it's a high-profile case, you've asked the right questions. And also just to check if they're biased about certain things, if they've had an incident with certain things, like certain crimes or anything like that. Because if they have had an incident with someone else, they're going to be biased towards your client, right? So the job is to make sure that they are going to get the right jury in the chair that's going to give them a fair shot. Now, this was an article released by KY3 in, I believe, August of 2022. So Nicholas GODEJOHN had been convicted of first-degree murder for the unaliving of Dee Dee. Now, in this article, the public defender was asked if he knew the knowledge of the judge avoiding the media to protect this case. Now, the public defender here states that the 19 potential jurors, he never asked if they seen any media coverage or had any formed opinions already on the case. Now, that right there to me is enough to get this case overturned. Simply because as a public defender, you're supposed to be looking out for the best interests of your client. These are questions that you're supposed to ask, because now the people that sat on the jury, he has no idea if these people were biased. To me, the public defender basically showed that he really didn't care and it didn't matter to him. And he was just trying to get this over and done with. And basically, this is what led to Nicholas GODEJOHN's demise. So here's an article of Gypsy Rose admitting that she had an evil side. And she called Nicholas GODEJOHN her match. And she described all the ways that they could commit crimes together and be bad. So they asked Perry, was he familiar with the video where she was admitting to this stuff? He says yes, and they asked if he had played it for the jury to show that Gypsy was manipulative to Nicholas, and he said no, but he agreed that the video should have been played. Now here, they were asking about the video where Gypsy was showing how to unalive her mom, if it was presented, and he said no. They asked, did you have a strategy as to why you didn't present this? He said no. Now, Nicholas GODEJOHN also had testing done in the prison for his disability, but they didn't present that either. Now, they also didn't call on his family to do any character witnesses, which I think is really sad, because that's actually really important when it comes to things like this. And they also asked, did they bring an expert in to weigh in on Nicholas GODEJOHN's condition in reference to autism and his relationship with Gypsy? It could have further explained his autistic condition to the jury. And the defense team also did not call family as witnesses to GODEJOHN's conditions. They relied on Dr. Frank's evaluation. Now that tells you a lot. He had ineffective counsel, and I can't begin to explain how ineffective this counsel was. This is just a tip of the iceberg. I have so much more to go through with you guys, but I wanted to show you guys this first, and I'll see you guys live at 8:30. Bye for now. Gypsy Rose recently did a Get Ready With Me video stating she was going to do her makeup and speak on her haters. And while I understand, it's not always great to hear things that aren't so great about yourself, I really have an issue with the fact that someone mentioned that she took advantage of someone with special needs, and this is what she commented on her video. Now, for anyone that is unsure about Nicholas's special needs, you really should watch the interrogation, because it is abundantly clear when you watch that interrogation. You don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to work with children with special needs or work with adults with special needs to see that clearly something was wrong in that video. And if we've seen that in a couple of minutes, just imagine what he's like in person. Now, his mother also mentioned in the interrogation that he needed constant supervision. What do you guys think of this?
Yep, since she had warned me that she's tried it twice before, and she's only mentioned one of those times in the media.
And I saw her gun on the table. She normally kept the gun in a safe in her bedroom, but she had used it to practice shooting earlier that week. And that's when I grabbed the gun and I threatened her with it. And before I knew it, I pulled the trigger as many times as I could. I shot my mother. I just remember thinking, like, oh my God, did I just do that? What did I just do? A couple of them hit her, a couple of them hit the wall, but the wounds were superficial. They barely grazed her. That's when I realized it was a BB gun. And it made me feel relieved because I did not intend to kill her. But the point is I was shocked that I pulled the trigger at all.
The other, apparently she almost got close to killing her mother, but however, she couldn't do it. She was attempting to do it mainly for someone that she had an infatuation with. And, well, she found out later that it was just infatuation, but yet the person keeps using her to this day, so yeah, it's very sad.